TYFU.
Hey, Marilla.
Hey, Beth.
How are you?
I've never been better.
Oh, good. I am all right myself.
Oh, I happen to be bubbling up with podcast energy this afternoon. How about you?
Well, I've been looking forward to this.
We don't have an envelope for this because it has been a collaboration.
Yes, between us
and our darling listeners, which we still don't have a name for our listeners yet.
Yeah.
So send us your ideas. We'll make a post.
We need that in place by season 3.
Yeah. I just saw that Call Her Daddy podcast.
Yes.
Calls her people daddy. Ooh, it's like daddykins or something strange. Yeah, we're going to have to do some research into that. But I'm saying it out loud so we can edit it out, but I don't forget it.
And I guess daddykins is taken, so we can't use that for ours. Speaking of season 3, I mean, we're closing in on the end of season 2.
We are. And why are we closing in on the end of season 2?
Because we have jobs, and those jobs are very demanding at this time of year. We work retail, and it tends to get a little bit busier.
Just a touch. Little bit. Do you have your Christmas stuff all figured out?
I pretty much do.
Is everything in-house?
I want to say again, pretty much. The window displays are still a little, they need to be nuanced
okay,
a bit, but we have a general theme.
Okay.
And I'm excited.
You and your windows.
Good luck competing.
Yeah, right. I have 2 window competitions that I got to hold down this year, and I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm going to blow your mind with my little 2x4 windows in Geneva.
You know what you're going to do for them?
No.
But you're going to blow my mind.
Yeah, I have a vague idea of mind-blowing concepts. Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about Christmas in retail this year. I've had a good year. Have you had a good year?
I have had a good year. It has been an odd year because I have one business that is brand spanking new, and that is the hardest year of a business. And then I have another business that's 5 years old that I took some business from for my second business.
Yeah, interesting.
So it's been a weird
cannibalized your own
year.
First location for your second location. Interesting.
It's been so strange to look at the numbers for this year, but the bottom line, and long story short, is yes, we're having a good year.
Yeah,
I'm having
a good year too, and I can't wait to see what Christmas brings for us.
I can't wait either. Also, cheers to you for having a good year with no qualifiers, because I can't tell you how many small businesses that I have talked to in 2024 that are just having the worst, hardest time.
Election years tend to be hard.
That's what they say. But I actually Googled that the other day.
And is it true?
They say no, but also who's doing the data
come from
collection?
Then? Who says that?
Yeah, who says?
You can't believe anything you hear.
Yeah, I mean, my customers say, oh, well, it's an election year. And so if the customers are saying it, then I have to say it might be true because it affects it.
Or if the customers are saying it, it might be completely false because they have no idea.
Don't we have an episode on that? Anyway, we're winding down our season 2. I can't believe it. And we're already prepping for season 3. We've got some guests on the horizon for season 3.
We've got some guests. We've got some sponsors lined up.
So we're doing it.
We're doing it. We're moving forward.
Yeah.
And now a word from our sponsor.
So Beth.
Yes, Marilla.
I was posting on Instagram, and I have to say, our recording space is just beautiful.
The Red Room Studio?
Yes, you have a way with decorating.
Well, thanks.
Not everybody can do that. But if you're looking for a great location to decorate your space, you should check out Axom Home in Rochester.
Axom.
It's a destination for modern furniture and accessories to make your home reflect your own unique style.
Furniture?
Axom's got it.
Vases?
Axom's got it.
Vases?
Axom's got it.
Clocks?
They've got it. It's a great place for people with a great sense of design but don't want to pay for a designer.
Find it at Axom in the heart of the South Wedge in Rochester, New York, and online at axomhome.com.
But anyway, we don't have an envelope.
No. Because for several weeks now, we've been asking our listeners, the daddykins. Oh, wait, no. We've been asking our listeners, who shall be unnamed, to write in their questions.
Yes.
For Ask Us Anything.
And
they have come through.
They really have. And I'm so glad, because there's nothing more mortifying than putting a call to action out to your social media or your audience or your customers, and nobody responds. So thank you guys for not
just leaving us hanging.
Oh my God.
Leaving us hanging. Yep. That would have been awkward.
So yeah, without further ado, shall we get into these questions? And we may even hear, I think we have some questions that Kelly Walker will be answering. And perhaps asking us. Who knows? All right, then let's just begin at the beginning, Bethany.
Okay, the first question on the list is, what did you aspire to be when you grew up?
Easy. A singer in a nightclub.
Well, you sort of are, though. You sort of are doing that.
That's true. I thought about that the other day. Whenever we would play pretend, I was like, I'm in a grimy nightclub. And I'm singing my heart out.
I can picture it. It's a smoke-filled bar. Right. Everybody's just looking straight down into their drinks, or AKA their well of sadnesses.
Yeah, and I'm in you look great. Red and beaded.
You look great.
Yes.
And it's sort of like, what's a gal like you doing in a place like this kind of vibe?
Exactly. Yes. And I dreamt of that since, I think that started when I was maybe 7 or 8.
I love it. Well, I love especially that you sort of do that.
Yeah. It brings me a lot of joy, and it brings a lot of levity to it because I think back to 8-year-old Marilla, and while I didn't think I would be a shopkeeper, I did think I would be playing in sticky bars, and look at me now.
Yeah.
What about you, Beth?
I did not think that I would be a shopkeeper either. I had no ambition to be a shopkeeper. No. I thought I might be something literary related, like a librarian or a teacher or a writer, something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess what's consistent is that I always wanted to be around books. And I am every day around books.
And you do write a little bit.
I do write a little bit.
You do write a little bit. I think sometimes being a shopkeeper is born of having many different interests, and you can kind of keep all those interests under the umbrella of your store and be the queen of all those interests.
Some people find it difficult to make money, say, writing novels or poems or even teaching. So
I've never heard of a poor poet.
I think that having the shop kind of allows me to indulge in those interests or be close to those sorts of people in those sorts of communities, but also earn an actual living.
Right.
Although that's debatable.
That's, well, yeah, the jury's out on that for us. We're hoping the podcast takes off.
Likes and shares, folks.
Yeah, likes and shares. That reminded me also, though, another interest that I had, maybe not when I was little, but when I was in high school, I thought that I would go to school for psychology. And I was
related.
Yeah, I was really interested in psychology, and I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I loved figuring out how people tick. And now in my shop, I'm so glad that I didn't spend 8 to 12 years in school. And I get to scratch that itch every day with every customer that comes in, because everybody works a little different. And I love kind of figuring out how each person wants to have their experience. So yeah, basically a nightclub singing psychologist turned shopkeep over here. And I feel like you teach people with your shop as well, though.
Yeah.
I feel like
in an annoying way.
Only me. I'm the only one.
Whether they want to learn or not.
No, I just think it bears to point out that, like, if I bring you an old book, you're going to tell me about why it's not as old as I think it is.
Why it's completely worthless. Nice try.
Worthless. Yeah, I think you're a teacher. I think you're a writer. I think you've achieved it.
Yeah, the shop, I mean, not to go on and on because this is only question one. I will say it's my experience of running my shop that it is much more fulfilling than I would have expected shopkeeping to be.
Yeah.
Because of those psychological moments, because of those teaching moments, because of those learning moments, because of those arranging moments, because of, like we said on the Many Hats episode, you do so many different things all the time that it's constantly fresh and new.
Right. How lucky are we?
We're pretty lucky.
We're pretty lucky.
All right.
Next question.
Next question.
Give me this. Oh, this is a little local. This is for our locals.
Okay.
Or, the people who want to travel here to visit. What is your dream for Geneva if you could make anything appear or change?
You want to go first?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you, I woke up this morning, I'm still laying in bed, I'm scrolling, and the first thing I see is this ridiculous rant from a city council member about what's wrong
with
Geneva.
Yes.
And I was thinking, how much time do you spend ranting versus how much time do you spend getting things done?
Doing,
yes. And I was thinking about how people love to rant. Occasionally, you and I rant as well, so we can be here and there guilty of it. I don't want to. Yeah, okay. But I just wish there was more. When people say they should really have a such and such here.
Yes.
Or there's nothing to do for the kids in this. I mean, I just wish that people be like, I can be part of the solution.
Right.
Instead of everything sucks. I get worn down by that.
Agree. And that is such a diplomatic and wonderful answer. I wish we had a ramen noodle place.
Wow.
And
okay.
How am I going to follow that? You're like, I think we should all get along and be happy with what we have.
And we'd be a lot happier with a ramen noodle place. They should just open a ramen noodle place in this city.
Just open a ramen noodle. I'm putting it out there. I'm manifesting it.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that's what we would change, Beth.
What?
What we would change is people's desire to get out and make it happen themselves instead of just passing the buck to this invisible
the invisible they
that is
that should be doing
right, the invisible they that should be doing. Yeah, so that I agree. That's what I would change about Geneva too.
And I don't think that's specific just to our community. We said this was a local question, but I think that's across the board.
Right, get out and make it happen. If you can't make it happen on a city level, do it yourself. Throw a shindig. Do something fun. Stay off of Facebook. Unless you're going to like and follow TYFU Pod. All right, what do we have next?
This one was really hard for me. Who would play you in a movie about your stores/lives? And who would be the villain?
Okay, I will answer this first because the first part of it is not hard at all. You know who would play me?
No.
Anne Hathaway.
Oh.
Hell yeah, Kelly Walker. Kelly agrees. Yes. Anne Hathaway. Oh my God.
Well, that would be charming, Marilla.
Wouldn't it?
Imagine walking in your store and there's Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway. God. She's taller. She's got better legs. Just the right person to play me.
Well,
I love you, Anne.
Maybe, when they make a movie about TYFU, we'll knock on her door. We'll have our people call her people.
Kelly, can you get on that? I'm sure that Kelly has her phone number, so it'll be fine. So I would have Anne Hathaway, and then the villain is trickier. God, I circle back.
Right.
Who would
Kelly,
play you?
Did you have any answers for this for yourself? Who would play you in a movie?
Yeah, we need this.
If we are going by people that it's been suggested that I resemble or vice versa. Like Anne Hathaway makes sense for that, for you.
Okay.
Jeff Daniels comes up for me all of the time.
A Jeff Daniels, a shaven Jeff Daniels. Yes. I've seen him with a beard.
Really?
Before. Yes.
Yeah, I always think of him especially in the Aaron Sorkin TV show, The Newsroom.
Right. I could see it.
Jeff Daniels comes up. Now, I will say when I was 30 years younger and a good solid...
When you were 12?
30 pounds light. Yeah, when I was 12. Not even Neil Patrick Harris. It was always Doogie Howser.
I can see that.
When I was
Do you know who that is, Marilla? Or are you too young for that?
I was too young.
Yeah.
I'm too young. On the poster, we've got Anne Hathaway. We've got Jeff Daniels as Kelly Walker. We have... Who?
Okay, I had no idea. I was in the kitchen at my house reading this question out loud. My child was in the kitchen. I was like, who should play me? And without missing a beat, Leo said, Winona Ryder.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't see that.
Ryder?
And then my kid was like, oh, yeah, it's obvious. So,
oh my God. Okay.
I didn't want to actually look too deeply in it and have Leo change her mind.
Right. You just want to be like, when somebody says Winona Ryder,
I'm just going to write it. I'm just going to write it.
You don't say a word. You're like, thank you. And you.
Well, who are you thinking, Marilla?
I was thinking, okay, she's a little goofy, but I would have Melissa McCarthy play you in 1 second.
Oh my gosh. Interesting.
Melissa McCarthy.
I can see that too.
She's not always silly.
No.
Right?
Right.
Jeff Daniels, Anne Hathaway. If Winona's not available.
I think my kid just couldn't think of any other actress my age or actor my age.
So she's sort of a mom.
Yes, who was born in the 70s sometime.
All right, who do you pick? Winona or Melissa?
I would like an amalgamation of the two of them.
Oh, perfect.
Ideally.
Okay. Perfect.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, they could have a baby in time for this movie to be made. But the last link to this question is, who's the villain? And I don't think that's just mine to answer, Kelly.
Who is the TYFU quintessential villain? I mean...
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, it's Jeff Bezos for Amazon.
So who's going to play Amazon?
So who's going to play Ola Joffrey? What about Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
That's it, Marilla. That is it. That is it.
Or like Vin Diesel. Yeah.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. We'll call him. We'll see who says yes. All right, perfect. We've got it casted. I love this movie already. All right, let's make Kelly read the next one.
Okay.
Take it away, Kelly.
Well, this is nice. What are your favorite ice cream flavors?
Oh, what a hard-hitting question from our producer.
Not my question. I'm not taking credit for a listener question.
That's true. Some of these we actually do know who sent them in, and that is from Amanda, who has the ice cream shop in Syracuse. If you are going
So she's an expert on ice cream. She's probably going to be critiquing our answers pretty hard.
She's probably going to be like the same way a star astrology girl is going to know what you're like from your birthday. Amanda is going to know what we are like from this answer.
That's so much pressure.
Yeah. So what do you got, Beth? What's your go-to?
I found this a very difficult question. I have been thinking about it for days. I think I just ended up with some kind of like chocolate almond or mint chocolate chip kind of, because I like some chunks.
Like a Rocky Road.
Oh, sure. But you have to pick one. So.
Well, pick one.
I'll say mint chocolate chip. I'm sorry it's boring, but that's what I'm going to go with.
No, but it's interesting.
No, it's not.
What does it tell me about you?
It's a common favorite, I think.
Not everybody likes minty sweets, okay? I think for myself, oh God, I like Panda Paws.
Panda Paws?
Yeah, I could get down with some Panda Paws.
Is that a TM situation?
No,
because I don't think just anybody can sell.
Say that on the air, but that is a Kelly problem. Too bad
for Kelly
Walker.
Kelly, what's your favorite ice cream?
I mean, I'm not going to be exotic. It's going to be something chocolate.
Okay.
And I agree with you. I like to have something in it. I like to have
a crunch.
Peanut butter cups or bits of chocolate or cookie dough in there. But I have a hard time getting away from chocolate flavors when I go for ice cream.
When this drops, I want you to do like a poll with the listeners.
For the ice creams?
Yeah.
Or just every question?
See what the daddykins like the best. All right, I'm going to stop saying that. But our listeners.
Yes.
To see what they like the best.
I agree. That's a hard question. All right, let's see. If you could go back to your first day owning your own business, what would you tell yourself?
Don't do it. No, that's just a joke. That's just a joke.
That is a good question.
I think I would caution myself about a few things. It's going to be harder than you think. Even though you think it's going to be hard, it's going to be harder than you think.
Right.
Not everything is within your control, and just get comfortable with that. Amazon is going to freaking crush you. And
it's not just
every
a stupid
way,
little bookstore.
It's not just like this fly-by-night thing that is like whatever books online. I can totally compete with that. It's going to be different. It's going to look different. And you got to maybe get ahead of it a little bit and see what kind of strategies.
Yeah.
And I will say this, if I would have known then what Amazon would become, I would have told myself that the only reason people shop retail in this day and age is for the experience. So turn yourself into an experience.
Yeah.
All right. That's about enough. I mean, there's a few more things, but that's about enough.
Oh my God. I love it. I think mine is similar. You know, the first day opening my business, there was a lot of things stressing me out, and like you wanted to get everything right. I would tell myself, don't worry, it gets worse. But like not in a horrible way, but like this is not the worst thing that you're ever going to have to tackle and that you're ever going to succeed at tackling. And so I think I would tell myself that like you can't believe the amount of hardships that you are capable of just figuring out and trusting that. So I think I would say that. I think I would say, God, we opened late 2019. I'd say, get yourself a few masks, you know.
Stock up on that cleaning spray.
You know those stupid masks that nobody ever wears? Maybe get a few of those. And I would say, and I'd still tell myself this, like, don't get caught up in like the flashy stuff. Do stuff like eat the elephant one bite at a time. Like as far as branding, as far as marketing, like little bits that you can manage really do pay off. Slow and steady. So boring of me.
Kind of, yeah. But
so
also
boring.
when you're small and you can only spend as you earn, you know, you have to do it that way.
Yeah. And like too many people go out there and tell small business owners, including myself, you got to spend money to make money. I agree with that to a point, but you can't spend money you don't have at all. So don't, and you'll be okay.
Ooh, that was a tough one.
Yeah.
I mean, I had multiple answers. You have multiple answers. It's just like when you go back and you kind of consider where you've come from and how far you've come.
Yeah.
It is a weighty question.
I vividly remember like having a meltdown about some delivery, like on the steps of my store, and just being emotionally raw. And that was such small potatoes compared to what we've done in the last 5 years. She had no idea.
That Anne Hathaway.
She's
so cute.
She's so
naive.
innocent. All right, Beth, what do we have next?
Outside your immediate family members, tell us about the first woman/women to inspire you, and then who is inspiring you today.
This one I've had such a hard time with. I just have no one in my life that's
the least been inspiring to me. You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first. It's going to get the ball rolling for me.
Yeah, it was difficult for me to kind of step outside my family members
Me
at
too.
first.
I love my family.
Yes, and we have had women business owners around us, and
Yeah.
they were our first sources of inspiration. For me, it was like not even questioning that I could own a business because
Right.
the women in my family have run businesses.
Yes.
So that was a great gift. But then I'm thinking outside of that,
Right. Nobody
is-
you're related to.
there is no great business mogul that is female that I'm like, yeah, I want to be just like her. It's been very different in terms of who's been inspiring me in my career. And I thought about all these little interactions, just small acts of kindness that other women business owners have shown me in times where I didn't know what I was doing, in times that I was stressed out. I was thinking of Ma at Sideshow, who the locals will know.
Yes.
I was thinking of Lynn Bennell, who used to run a shop downtown. I was thinking of Sherry Cardinelli gave me some really good advice. Just these tiny, tiny little interactions that I can think back to.
Yeah, that builds your
That
confidence.
but also make me feel seen.
In a sense, that hits the nail on the head for me. I would say, I mean, you're on my list, Beth, through the years. Like, believe it or not, I have been very inspired by you in the community. I've been inspired, like you said, many different small business owners. The gal over at Papillon, this is very Geneva. Mm-hmm. You know, she's been there for years. Just kind of day in, day out, showing that it can be done. Yvette, you know, and so I definitely agree with you there. And then there was a woman that was no relation to us, Edith Delavan, and she taught me. She was like a grandmother, not really, but she cracked me up, and she was so confident and so, she had her own, she just marched to the beat of her own drum. And one of the lessons that I learned from that woman was like, confidence is key. You might not know what you're doing half the time, but walk in and be confident. And it's amazing what will follow with that kind of an attitude. And I think of that all the time. And there were many other things that she did and accomplished in her life that were inspiring, but maybe I don't have any like celebrity bigwig that's on my list.
That might be in relationship to our own goals and ambitions. You know, like I don't necessarily want to be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company.
Right.
You know, I want to run a good business in a small town and have nice relationships. I want to be meaningful to my community. So it is these ladies around town who have run good businesses in small towns and been meaningful to their communities that are most inspiring to me.
Yeah, I would agree. And now, as I get to know some of people out even further, like distributors and whatnot, like I think Carly from Zafiro, who was on with us, is very inspiring to me. Kate from Dip is very inspiring to me. You know, I meet people every day that I'm just like, oh, wow. Okay. That's awesome. I can do that.
Well, when the question is who is inspiring you today, I was going to say you, Marilla. I really was. Not just because you said me.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say you because you have your head on straight. You have wisdom about you. You have like clearly articulated goals and you work diligently to meet them. And I think if there was more young people like yourself, not to sound 85, but
I was going to say,
like, I'm still younger than Kelly, everyone.
That's right.
But anyways, I think you're doing a great job, and I find your work very inspirational.
Listen, right back to you. Right back to you. Sorry, Kelly, you can't be an inspiring woman, but otherwise we would include you. Speaking of Carly from Zafiro, I know this question was hers, but I think I kept it because I think it is worth answering. How do you do so much in life? Like, as a small business owner, how do you do so much.
I feel like I do achieve a lot, but I also feel like I like my work, so my work becomes kind of my hobby time. And I don't know if that is cliche or whatever, but
it is. Don't worry.
Yeah. I don't mind working.
Yeah.
I like working, actually. Yeah. So if you're a person who likes working, then work feels like, work is relaxing to me, strangely. So.
Yeah. I would say the same thing. When I'm in one place, like when I'm at the shop from this hour to this hour, it is relaxing to me. It is exciting. When I'm doing the band, that's fun and relaxing in a sense. All of the work that I do is very cathartic. I guess the only other thing I would add is that, to small business owners listening, if you're out there, it helps to have a good support group. Like I have a good team. Like my husband, Joe, is really supportive of all the crazy things that I do.
And you have employees that can support you at the store when you need to be off doing something else.
Yeah. And, I would say that, again, not to put Carly on blast here, but Carly does more things than I could ever think of ever in my life.
Oh, so she's just toying with us?
Yes, she doesn't think she is, but she is. I know you are, Carly. She has her 2 kids. She has her business. She cans. She gardens. She preserves herbs. Like she's a
Carly,
potter.
how do you do so much?
How do you do so much, Carly? But I think the answer is, you do what brings you joy. And for a lot of us, our businesses bring us joy, after all the griping that we do. We gripe about it and then we go, we sleep really well knowing we get to do this.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Some of the best feedback we receive at TYFU is from small business owners who say, I'm glad to hear that I'm not alone.
In Geneva, small business owners are never alone.
The Geneva Business Improvement District is your partner.
BID works to increase foot traffic for downtown businesses with marketing and promotion.
BID also hosts events to draw customers and keeps downtown beautiful so they'll stay.
Want to learn more? Visit BID today at genevadowntown.com.
How do you decide on location for your shops? If you had a magic wand to pick a new location, where would you go?
This was easy for me. I would move my shop next to Stomping Grounds in Geneva, New York.
No, because we would just gab all day long. You can't be that close to me.
Yeah, petition to make gabbing the new yapping. Like all the kids are saying yapping these days. Let's bring back the gab, okay?
I don't yap. I gab.
Yeah, I would. In all seriousness, I think if I was going to move my Geneva shop, I would scooch it over to your street, Beth. Mm-hmm. Big parking lot, good visibility. Mm-hmm. Although I feel pretty good about where we are.
But you would be in Geneva?
I would be in Geneva. I'm kind of taking this question as like, where would you go in the place that you are? I wasn't thinking of it like, where would you have a new location? Maybe that's another question.
Having been on this is my 3rd location in Geneva.
Yeah.
I have to say I do like it the best in terms of not necessarily the gorgeousness of the building.
Right.
But in terms of the access to the parking lot, the Smith Opera House proximity, being close to, say, Yvette. I mean, when retail is clustered, it helps all of us.
Right.
So I do like my current spot. How
did you pick it?
Oh, God, it picked me. It was available, like trouble in the first building. Second building was being sold and we couldn't afford it. Third location on Seneca Street where we are now was coming up for rent. I mentioned Sherry Cardinelli earlier. She was renting there. She knew that she was leaving. She got me the inn and we moved there.
Networking, baby. Networking.
Yep. Because I was, complaining to her about how hard it was to find a spot that was suitable.
It is.
And I'm
going to pause you. We're going to get into the nitty gritty. When you say suitable, what do you mean? When you're looking for your spot as a business owner, like, what are you thinking?
Lots of things. Can I afford it?
Number one.
Who is the property owner and can I trust them?
Number 2, maybe number 1.
Yeah. When I say trust them, can I trust that they're going to honor the terms of the lease? Are they going to keep the building in good repair, et cetera, et cetera? Because if you have water pouring into your building, you can't run your business.
What episode was that?
Okay, whatever, yeah.
We'll go back.
But it could be any number of things.
Right.
If there's any number of problems could be happening in the building that are beyond your control.
Know the landlord. Mm-hmm. Get to know the landlord. Or talk to people who do.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Is there enough space? Is the space flexible? Is there good parking?
When I picked my space in Rochester, I found all these listings and I went to all the different neighborhoods, and I was a class A creep in the neighborhoods because I hung around for a couple hours. I would shop around. I would go get a coffee, and I'd sit there and I'd pay attention to how many people were walking around on the street, if they were coming in and shopping, if they were just going to their car or actually spending time, how I felt walking around in the space as a new person.
Because we have said it before, I think specifically on the advertising episode where our special guest was Kelly Walker.
Oh, what a guest.
If we are reflective of who our customer base is, then our experience of the neighborhood is going to tell us a lot about whether or not our customer will shop there, feel comfortable there, be curious about the neighborhood, be active and present in the neighborhood.
Right. Yeah. So there's so much that goes into that. Maybe that's a whole episode. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think that is actually, we've been asked for an episode on renting versus owning.
Yeah. And maybe just location.
All right. Well, let's stop talking about it then.
Guys,
because we've got a lot more.
There's
ideas. More I could say about this
I know.
topic.
Okay.
So let's
put a pin in it. Let's put a pin in it. All right. All right. Beth, I've got this next one. Was it hard? Ooh, is this dramatic? This one, I know the person who submitted this question didn't assume we would be answering it on air.
Oh, like it's too risky to tackle it?
Risky.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I think so.
Was it hard to accept sponsorship from BID, given that in the past, you, Beth, and I have shared frustration with them, specifically regarding things like cruising night, etc., etc. Are we going to badmouth our sponsors or?
Well, yeah, I mean, probably in this episode and in several other recent episodes, there has been a promotional spot that you and I recorded for BID, which stands for Business Improvement District.
Yes.
It is a organization that operates in the city of Geneva, as well as many other municipalities in the state of New York. If you're listening to us outside the state of New York, you might have something comparable. I mean, there's a lot of different merchant organizations, small business organizations active in many different towns across the country. BID is ours. And both you and I have had a contentious history with BID. So how is it that we've ended up in bed with them? Wink, wink.
Yeah. So was it hard to answer the question, Beth? The question was,
okay, I'm going to answer
was it hard to accept that?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to answer why it was hard. Yeah. When you and I were recording the spot for BID, I was thinking to myself, this is an episode of The Twilight Zone. I never, ever thought that I would have a warm and fuzzy relationship with BID.
Right.
But here's how it is. Each municipality has its own board, its own director, its own mission statement, its own rules. And your BID in your community is only as good as its mission statement, its board members, people, and its director.
Right.
Over the years that I've been in business, board members have come and gone, directors have come and gone.
Mission statements have come and gone.
Right. And I currently, and I think you can agree with me, I have a very good relationship with the current director of BID, Kat. And her staff is wonderful. I have never in all my years been so impressed with the director of BID, and it's changed everything for me. So even though I publicly have had a very it's a difficult relationship with BID, I'm so impressed. I never disagreed with the concept of a BID. I disagreed with the way it was run. Another business owner, Marilla, I've got a quote for you.
Okay.
Another business owner downtown said, and this is a little bit vulgar.
It's all right. We have the rating for it. Let it rip.
If a BID director came down to my shop and took a dump on my sidewalk, that would be more than BID has ever done for me before. How about that for a vote of confidence?
Yeah, right. Okay, so we've had a fraud.
That is where BID is coming from.
That's right. That's right.
But
That's
where
right.
it is now is completely different.
Totally different. And just such a shout out to Kat for just doing the tough work of coming in. And that's not to say previous directors haven't worked hard and taken on challenges, but Kat has some. But Kat has really come in and she has met those challenges. She's not been defensive. She's come up with solutions.
Oh my gosh, she's such a good listener.
She's such a good listener. She's beautiful. She's talented. She's well-traveled. God. And so, it's completely changed my relationship with the BID. So basically, we have a sordid past with the BID, both Beth and I. And when first the thought of sponsorship came up with the BID, I was like, never.
No, I really think just the fact that they sponsor it shows.
Exactly.
It shows how far BID has come. Shows that they're like open to dialogue. They want to understand what our struggles are as small business owners in Geneva, New York. They want to support us.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh wait, I have one. I'm going to steal I'm going to steal the spotlight one more time. I have one for our producer Kelly Walker.
Too bad for Kelly Walker.
Bad for Kelly Walker. As we said, anything was on the table. And Andy has asked Kelly Walker, are you the host of the Sundilla Radio Hour?
I am, in fact, the host of the Sundilla Radio Hour.
And she says she caught it the other day while she was driving, and she was like, I know that mysterious voice. And what other side gigs does our producer extraordinaire have going on?
I am probably best known as the host of Morning Edition on Finger Lakes Public Radio.
Local celebrity.
Heard of it.
And in fact, Marilla, that's something that we talk about in public radio is I am relatively well known in the community because of hosting Morning Edition. We call that Morning Edition famous.
Yes.
Because it's the draw is NPR's Morning Edition. I just happen to interject throughout the hour with various local pieces. So I'm not so much famous as I am Morning Edition famous. Now, I have a very good TYFU story.
Oh.
And that
now I'm interested.
Yes, we all have a dear friend named Scott. Okay. Who is a warm, kind, and wonderful person, Scott Ostrowski.
And confirm.
Friend of the podcast.
Friend
in real life.
Mm-hmm.
You may remember that Kevin Dunn and I have a practice space on the north side of Geneva called the Geneva Sound Factory.
Another side gig.
We are also, small
Kevin
business
Dunn,
owners.
Last year's Halloween episode, special guest.
Exactly. Yes. And one day, Scott had a donation of some acoustic panels for the GSF. He frequently is in that space as well. And so I met him at our location on the north side of Geneva. His parents had brought them over. They were going out to lunch.
Elaine, we love Elaine.
This was the first time I had met them. And they said, "Oh, we know who you are." And I said, "Oh, you're Morning Edition listeners." And they said, "No, Too bad for Kelly Walker. So I have spent very nearly 40 years in public radio. And in my increasing claim to fame is Too Bad for Kelly Walker on TYFU.
Oh, warm and fuzzy.
How cute.
I love that.
Well, I want to ask a follow-up question of Kelly Walker because there was another one on the list here. A listener would like to know how much control Kelly Walker has in regards to editing the podcast.
This is a really good question
It is a
because
good
I don't get to ever talk to the audience in general about how awesome this team is.
Oh, Kelly, stop.
Come
Kelly.
Come now, Kelly.
Keep going.
You all approached me in January of 23, and you were interested in a podcast, and I said, I'm game. And I think Marilla even said, well, we weren't trying to get you to do it. And I said, well, if you'll have me, I would love to.
And I said yes.
I set up the microphones. We recorded. Your chemistry was just amazing right from the get-go. So I was very excited to work on this. Exactly.
Snip, snip, snur. Snap, crackle, pop.
But one of the things that's really fascinating about this show is the way that we kind of fell into roles immediately. So I record, I handle all of the equipment.
Tech.
Exactly. And I love it. And then I send the recording to you two. The first major edit comes from Beth because we think editing is really important because we know that as a listener, your time is valuable. And so we don't want you to have to hear false starts, maybe stories that we think don't really go where we wanted them to go, things like that. Beth does this first edit. I do all the technical edits. And
Marilla's like, great job, guys.
Yeah, Marilla says great. Except that Marilla, of course, is our absolute wizard at social media.
Yeah, that's true.
And so we've all three kind of fallen into these roles, none of which answers the question. I feel that I am empowered to make any edits that I think are necessary, but I find that most of my work tends to be during the recording session. I'll write down additional questions that come up in my mind that maybe we should cover. I'll make suggestions. I'll stop if I think something needs to be cut or we need to approach it a different way. Mm-hmm. Right. I'll make small edits, and there are times where I'll disagree with an edit that Beth suggests, which are typically Beth cutting out Beth being hilarious.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, that happens so often. We really have to cut it down.
And not believing that Beth is being hilarious.
Yes, I agree.
This happens kind of constantly.
There have been times.
This needs to be cut because I don't think it's very funny. And both Marilla and I say, no. Disagree.
No, you're hilarious, Beth.
And
deal with it.
Accept that.
So yeah, I feel I'm glad you said that because I think that you have created two little editing monsters here, Kelly Walker, because Beth is a very good editor and I come in after the fact and pick out a couple just to pull my weight or pretend to.
I do think that Kelly has final say.
Yeah, I think Kelly has
I'll write
final
down
say.
my suggestions for edits, and if Kelly
agree.
disagrees, I don't argue with Kelly. I don't, although I think if I did, Kelly would respect it. We'd talk about it.
Yeah.
But I do think Kelly is the ultimate
decider.
Yeah.
Especially if you and I are on the fence about it. If Beth and I are on the fence about something and we can't quite put our finger on how to edit or if it should be cut, Kelly is always the deciding vote on that. And we trust him with that. So
But in 2 years or 2 seasons, we have not had any major disagreements.
Well, I mean,
on an editorial standpoint, which is pretty wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, season 3 is really when we're going to turn the heat up and have some
become divas.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Season 3 is when we're going to start filming and
we are.
Yeah.
No, we are not.
Come on.
Oh my God.
Filming and drinking profusely.
This might be too spicy.
Just
go But every one of us has veto power over a guest.
That's true.
That's true.
And in 2 seasons, we have not exercised, none of us have exercised the...
You were close, Kelly. You were
but
close
we'll never tell who it was.
No, it wasn't that I was close. I had to be talked into a guest.
That's true. And you guys will never know.
And you'll never know who it
was.
is. I had to be talked into a guest. I think the episode came out great.
It did.
But yeah, we all have veto power over guests.
Yep.
And it has never been exercised, even if there has been some pressure applied.
Or hesitation. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying that you all just
We bullied you into it.
bullied me into a guest.
Yeah. Yep. We've it's been a wild ride.
Well, thank you, Kelly. We would not. I don't know if we'd have a podcast without you, but I know it wouldn't be as good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It really wouldn't. So, good question, guys. You gave us so many good questions. What's next, Beth?
This is from Yvette. She was first guest this season?
Yes.
First guest this season. Yes.
Don't be Batman.
Yes,
Don't
that's
be
right, on
Batman.
shoplifting. That was a good episode, I thought. It was edited masterfully.
Yes.
Yvette wants to know, how do you deal with unruly children? And have you ever lost your temper? If you had to speak to an unruly child, what was their parents' response?
I have had to deal with unruly children. For the most part, I will say, for the most part, the kids that come into my store are treasures. But of course, there are times when they are unruly. And I think maybe it's a toxic trait. I just start bossing them around. I just take control, and I start like mothering them and being like, I don't think so. Not on my watch. And, for the most part, the parents, I've never had a parent, say, like, don't talk to my kid like that. I mean, I'm not belligerent with the children. But yeah, there was a couple times where a kid picked up a breakable thing, and I was, you look them in the eyeballs and you say, put it down.
Yeah.
And, they sometimes will challenge you, but I'm always like, I'll kick you out. I'll kick you out, child. This is my store.
I told you this story, and I think it was the Breaking Up with Customers episode, where I had a bad behaving child and I just pretended to close.
Iconic.
Remember that? Remember that one?
I wish I had an opportunity to do that. It is my favorite story of dealing with children. So,
yeah.
Oh, you're an icon.
But that's not usually the way it
not
plays
foolproof.
out.
Not foolproof.
I get kids just, grabbing stuff. Well, there was one time I was around the corner from a kid and I just heard the sound of paper ripping.
In a bookstore?
Yeah. Right. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but it is not good. And I came around the corner. There's just a kid sitting on the floor just tearing pages out of books. So, I didn't create a scene, but I took the book from the kid.
Yeah, right. You just take control. Yeah. You know what I have right now in my second location in Rochester? I don't have it all filled in. It's not filled to the gills. And it's just so fun to run. As a kid, especially if you have light up sneakers. Oh my God. Just run around those tables, round and around and around.
Yes.
And I mean, it's a blast. I don't argue with that.
Begrudge them the impulse.
I cannot begrudge them. I would too. But there have been times where I've been like, all right, we got to take 5 miles per hour off the speed because somebody's going to crack their head. So yeah, that's just lately been the kids' favorite thing.
But if that, just throw them out. You're not going to go out of business.
Just throw them out. They're not your target customer.
Yeah, just get them and their parents or their grandparents out of your store.
Get them out. Get them out. Yeah. Maybe slime them. I don't know. Get them. Yeah. Get them out. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Next question, Marilla.
Shall I?
Yeah.
How did you learn to trust your business to your staff?
Right.
I feel like this person feels like if I'm not there, things aren't being run as well as if I was there.
They aren't.
They aren't. That's the answer. Listen, that's the answer. And that's not an insult to my
to
team.
do with our very
nothing
talented
to do with them.
employees.
Absolutely not. I thought the same thing, Beth. When I read that question, the answer is it never will be run as quote unquote well.
Quote unquote.
Quote unquote well as when you are there, because they're not you.
Right. So what do you mean by well when we say quote unquote well?
Quote unquote well, like you walk in and you know exactly the vision of the store. You know exactly what you dreamed about last night that you want the store to embody, and it's your store. So you walk in and you're like, oh, this isn't embodying that dream that I had last night. We need to change this and we need to change this. And why is this sitting here? And this is cluttered. And no one but you is going to know that. And that includes the customer.
Right. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah. Like, have your dreams for your business, communicate those dreams to your team. But do not sweat it when your team is not telekinetically picking up on your vibes, because the customer isn't either. And it will come in time as you build rapport with your team. I mean, I have 2 places now, and sometimes I think that's been a huge struggle this year for me, is being like, okay, I have 2 days in this one place, and then I have 2 days in this one place. And when I go to the other place, I'm like, well, why is this here? And why is that here? And why is this here? And I would do it differently. But I think that's just my control freak coming out, because I feel I feel intimidated by letting someone else run my space. I don't know what that is, but it's been very tricky this year, trusting that when I'm not there, my team understands the way I want to present the place, understands the mission, and they will communicate that to the staff. It's always going to be different when you're there as the business owner, but that doesn't mean it's not good when you're not there.
I think that, for me, I only hired staff after I had gone through a bunch of trials and tribulations. I only could afford to hire staff after my business was on the brink of disaster a couple of times. Mm-hmm. I always have that brink of disaster feeling in me, even though the business is stable and I have 5 employees.
Yeah.
I feel I have an anxiety that I carry with me from years past.
Right. Scars that your employees have nothing to do with.
And no, it has nothing to do with them. It's just an anxiety that I carry.
Yeah.
I know that if I I'm trying to take 1 day a week off now, right? Whoa.
Wow.
I come back after that day off. I feel my anxiety. I feel like what didn't happen right while I was gone.
Right.
And possibly everything went fine. Usually everything went fine.
Usually it's fine. And rarely is it perfect, even when I'm there.
Oh, of course. Not that
I'm there, sometimes even
up
worse.
all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm even worse. And we can get away with it because we're the owner.
I'm not going to fire myself.
So also maybe
I get special treatment.
Maybe to this person, look at yourself sometimes. Sometimes
Are you 100% all the time?
Yeah. Are you? Is it the best it can be when you're there just because you're there? Probably not.
Probably not. And sometimes it may even be better. You know what I mean? Occasionally it may even be better.
There.
I'm not going to say that right out loud on the podcast.
No, I know. I would never say that.
I do have something a few years ago when I was trying to step away from the business more and just relax a little bit. My friend Kyle, who does our graphics, I've talked
Incredible.
about. Good friend of mine.
Talent, handsome.
He says, Beth, tell me this.
Tell me this,
Beth. What would happen if a customer only got 80% at Stomping Grounds one day? Like they're not going to get 100% because you're not there.
Right.
Maybe theoretically, maybe.
Right.
What happens if somebody has like only 4 stars instead of 5
Yeah.
experience? Are you going to be able to sleep at night? And he was basically telling me, you better learn how to do that, or you're
Yes.
never going to be able to take a day off from your business.
Yes. And I was just, I'm so in that right now because I was the dummy and I named my business Marilla's. And now I have 2 and there's not 2 Marillas. Spoiler. That reel I posted a couple weeks ago was editing. I'm really having to face like that feeling. Like only Marilla can give 100% of Marilla, but Marilla's Mindful Supplies is more than just me.
Oh,
and I
it's bigger
always
than you.
wanted,
And you
it,
wanted
to
it to be. Yes,
I
that's the
always
whole point.
wanted it to be. Anyway, how do you get to trust your employees?
Maybe you never will fully,
yeah.
which has nothing to do with their level of talent and capability.
It's a you problem.
It's a you problem. Absolutely.
Yeah. You might never feel like it's 100% if you're not there, but that doesn't mean you don't trust your employees.
Yeah, it's a strange thing.
And also, though, I think the star to that is like, if you have a gut feeling and you don't feel good about an employee, like, don't waste time on it.
You don't
Get
need
rid of
any more
them.
stress in your life, right? You just, if you can, maybe suss out what's you, what's a you problem, and what is just like I don't think this is a good fit.
Right.
Because I have been screwed over by employees. I don't know if you ever have, but it's not.
I mean, not really that dramatic, but
Yeah.
I have, hired and fired.
Yeah.
And it's not, you just got to do what you got to do. So basically, there's no answer to this question. Move on.
Good luck. Good luck with your business. This is not a podcast for advice.
Right.
I like this. I like this a lot. Do you remember the first item you sold in your store?
I think it was a soap bag. The most unsexy thing I could ever say.
Wait till you hear mine, though. Okay, so a soap bag. What is a soap bag?
It is a small cotton bag that is crafted so that you can put a bar of soap inside of it. And then the soap suds through the bag so you can get rid of that icky plastic loofah that you have had in your shower for too long.
Sure, yeah.
And then, you don't have to deal with the slippery bar of soap. The soap is inside the loofah for all intents and purposes. So then you can just suds up and then you can hang it up and it dries and it's
Charming.
I love it. $5 can't beat the price. Yep, that was one of my first sales. I think it was in a bundle of things, but I remember that being among the bundle.
Well, I don't remember the first sale that I had at Stomping Grounds. I do remember the first sale I had at my first bookstore.
Okay, that counts.
And I happen to have recently acquired another copy of the same book that was my first sale.
That was your first sale?
Yes. And you would say that your soap bag is not
sexy.
Well, I'm here to tell you.
That's a large volume you have here.
That I have about a 900-page volume called The Shadow of Blooming Grove. Warren G. Harding and His Times.
Oh,
it's a biography of President Harding. That was my first used book sale.
I love that. And what does it retail for now?
Well, about the same as it did then. No, actually, I think I sold my first copy for $10. And this one is $8.50. So,
all right.
Head on down to Stomping Grounds. If you're looking for a biography of Warren G. Harding's, I can hook you up.
I love it. I love it. Kelly, what's next on that list, since you've got it over there?
Well, since we are talking about such highbrow topics as presidential biographies, has a customer ever farted in your store, especially when it's just the two of you?
Okay, no, but I have. I have had the humiliating experience of being alone in my store, peace and quiet. It's been dead for hours. I let one off. immediately someone walks in.
I was going to tell the same story, dude. I
was. Immediately. Follow us for more tips on getting foot traffic. Oh my God. Yeah, no, I was pinned behind my counter. There was no place to go. And also I had one experience out gigging with the band where
everybody's on stage with you.
Well,
You're
no, they're
take
fine.
this, guys.
That's fine. No, I was out I don't know, one of my sisters was soloing and I was off by myself and oopsie daisy. And this woman came up.
Marilla, so great to see you.
Yeah, she's all up in my
I love
business.
your outfit.
She didn't even know me.
What's that perfume?
No, she didn't know me. She was gushing about the band and she's like, she goes, ew, what is that smell? If that came out of me,
oh no.
She goes, if that was me, I'd go to the hospital. Anyway, I died that night. So yeah, that's rough times.
If that was me, I'd go to the hospital.
How rude.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm good. All right. Last but not least, this is a fun one. We're keeping it light. From Linnea. If you could pick a song or genre that represents the vibe of your store, what would it be, Beth? And has the vibe changed from your original inspiration? Good question.
Yeah. Okay, my vibe has changed many times over the years. Sometimes I get a little feisty and I'm like, we're going to play some Led Zeppelin or some Beastie Boys in here.
Ooh.
Because you expect something different.
You're so bad.
I know. But then I read an article that says people spend more when there's classical music playing. So I tried that for a while. I tried a little like Brahms and Schubert.
a little Chopin.
And then I got into a very depressed midlife crisis phase. And then I just was like, I'm just going to play the sad folk singers.
Oh, no, that's bad for business.
No, Yeah. Well, now it's exclusively like 30s, 40s all the time. Like,
because I've influenced you.
well, I don't know. I mean, I've
With
always
my
loved
band.
it. I've always been, even when I was a teenager, I was a big band enthusiast.
Yes.
Isn't that
Me
weird?
too.
We have that in common.
Yes.
Like obscure 19th century novels and
Right.
big band
Yes.
enthusiasts. But I play a lot of like Edith Piaf, Artie
yeah.
Shaw,
Ooh,
that
yeah.
kind of stuff. So it's kind of
love a
retro,
little-
but upbeat.
Yeah, I love a little Nat King Cole trio.
Sure.
Not as crooner
occasionally.
days, but back. Some Boswell sisters. I actually have a playlist, and one of my employees is in the process of making some playlists to share because people will come into the shop and my music is absurdly random because I try to make it reflect myself, and that is absurdly random like musically. But in the beginning I had a lot of Maggie Rogers on there, like, I don't know, cool girl music. And it depends on the day. It depends on the mood. My employees, sometimes it depends on who's working, what's on. We do old timey stuff. I do old timey stuff in the fall, especially.
Why?
I just feel like Edith Piaf is very cozy. I feel like some of that.
She is.
God, I know. And the one thing I do tell, we've had Chapel Roan on lately.
It's very popular with the kids.
Yeah, we got to be careful, find the clean ones. But so we have fun with it. Love an Elton John moment. But what I will not play, what is not allowed is coffee house.
Oh my God! Thank
covers.
God! I would have to boycott your store.
Coffee house covers.
Oh my
it's
God!
so bad for business.
Hate it.
If there's one piece of advice that you take from this podcast is don't play coffee house covers in your small business, no matter how cozy
But I
it may
could
feel.
name 5 businesses off the top of my head that play that.
I know, and I'm telling you, I don't know what it is psychologically, but it's bad for business. It doesn't drive sales. It's too sleepy.
All right, so what if we have a listener who's playing coffee house covers in their store? Did we just alienate them?
Listen to us.
This is the one podcast you can count on for advice.
Yeah.
Do Do not play coffee house covers.
God, obviously you can do whatever you want, but pay it. Listen, all I'm asking you, who's playing coffee house covers in your store, decide for a month to play Whitney Houston. Decide for a month to play, I don't know, upbeat elevator music. Decide to play big band. And I want you to look at your sales.
I will say with the big band vibes that I've got going right now.
Yeah.
Customers comment all the time on how great the music is. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves it.
But with a coffee house station, they're like, is this a acoustic cover of Dancing Queen? And they're immediately judging you. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Not that anybody is here to take it. All right. Well, I mean, I think we've made it through the questions.
Is this the last episode of season 2?
Beth, this is the last time you're going to see me.
Until January, probably.
Until January, yeah. This is it.
You want it? Like, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I feel like season 2 flew by so quickly. I felt like season 2 was this monumental thing, and now we're already in season 3 in our brains, and we're already in season 3 with our sponsors, and somehow season 2 just happened, and we have gained more listeners. We have gained a Threads account. We have gained good stories. And I feel really good about where we're going. We have not gained a name for our listeners, but
Still
that's
working on that. Still working on that. I feel like we really kind of hit our stride this season, knock on wood, because who knows what I'll think about this season next season.
Meanwhile, our listeners are like,
keep working on it, guys. Keep working on it. Again, I really feel like you are a great partner. Kelly is a great partner. I've learned a lot about both of you, and I feel like we've established some really tight relationships with some of our listeners.
Yeah, learned a lot, but not too much. You know,
I'm still curious.
Still curious.
TYFU pod curious.
Yes. Yep. I think that's good. We'll smack on we'll do a little 5-star review just for old time's sake. And, and we'll see you. I can't believe we're saying it. We'll see you next season. Bethany.
Marilla.
I have been to a shop.
Okay. Is it called Marilla's Mindful Supplies?
No, I got out of there.
Did you go to Stomping Grounds?
I busted out of there, and not Stomping Grounds, but usually those are the 2 shops that I'm ever in. But I broke free from my monotonous path.
Okay.
I wandered into...
Hang on a second.
Yes?
I don't want to completely do a Kanye at the Grammys to Taylor Swift.
Yes, God?
But I'm here to tell you, I have a 5-star.
All right, let's hear it, Kelly. Let's see what you got.
I'm a music lover.
Okay.
And there is a very fine local and regional group that just put out a new album called The Cool Club and Lipker Sisters. And I do
never heard of them.
I'm sorry, what? Sounds clunky.
And I do love me some Cool Club and Lipker Sisters. Marilla, would you care to tell me a little bit about a new album?
A new album
that you may have released?
I did, indeed.
Because hang on a second.
Yes.
We enjoy your mellifluous tones at the beginning of every episode. You wrote our theme music.
Off to?
Yeah, wait, you got a crush out there or what, Kelly?
So I think we need to take some time at the end of our 2nd season and let you shine.
Beth, what do you think of this?
I'm totally against this.
All right, well, we're doing it anyway.
No, I think it's a great idea. I have not heard your new album, but I have heard your band perform many times. I really enjoy it.
This is true.
I have this fantasy where someday when the podcast takes off,
yes,
I can afford to book you at private party for myself.
So yes, we did just release an album, and Kelly, I have to correct you because our first album is The Cool Club and the Lipker Sisters. By a strange turn of events, the second album is just Cool Club and the Lipker Sisters. So nobody get confused. It's a whole different band.
But you are an absolutely terrific group that anybody who books you for a public show can expect that loads of fans are going to show up. You are charming.
We truck them in.
You are terrific. It's a fun group. You and your sisters do amazing 3-part harmonies. You completely knock it out of the park every time. You deserve 5 stars because you all are just an absolute treasure in the Finger Lakes.
Oh my God.
And beyond, because is your album streamable?
Our album is streamable. So if you've heard this 5-star review and you're thinking to yourself, I must listen to this up and coming group, you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple Music, Amazon, whatever they do, YouTube, and the like. So wherever you stream your music, you can find our album, Dancing into Your Dreams.
Can you describe the vibe?
The vibe is old-timey, but this album is all original music. So to give you an example, one of my songs, Who Do You Dream About? We were playing the show and I asked the audience when they thought that song was written. We played it. Everyone clapped. I said, all right, what year do you think that was written? And everybody was like, the 30s, the 40s. And I said, you fools. It was 2 years ago. So that's the vibe. It's old-timey, but all original music that you've never heard before. So
excellent.
Thanks for the 5 stars, gang.
Yeah, 5 stars. Cool
5
Club
stars.
and Cool Club and Lipker Sisters. 5 stars.
Amazing.
We chat about the biz, it is the way it is. Thank you for understanding.
We sincerely thank you for understanding. Please visit us at tyfupod.com to learn more about the show, share prompt ideas, or tell us about your own small business experiences. We may include your story in a future episode. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube at tyfupod or at tyfupod.com. Our theme music was composed by Marilla Gonzalez. The show is produced by Kelly Walker. Too bad for Kelly Walker. If a listener has made it this far into the episode, they know we're totally off the rails at this point.
Yeah, it's over.